Hello and welcome to this little video from WARRIC. We're going to be talking about a topic that is close to my heart and I hear every day I game or I stream. Microsoft is not Xbox and Sony is not PlayStation. Alright, now I'm going to start off with Microsoft. I will start off with the Microsoft fanboys and then we'll start off with the Sony fanboys. Carry on with the Sony fanboys. Now Microsoft, all I keep hearing is, oh yes, Microsoft have got millions and billions of dollars. Phil Spencer can spend as much money as he likes on Xbox, you know, and do anything they like. Well, let me say something now. Right, Microsoft doesn't need Xbox. Xbox is a separate division, just like Microsoft got different divisions. Microsoft got all its money mainly through operating systems of Windows, all the way up to Windows 10. That's where it got its money from. Now Xbox is a division of Microsoft, but people keep saying that, oh yeah, Phil Spencer can write a blank check, he can buy this company, he can buy this developer, he can do this, he can do that. No, he can't. No, he can't. He's like any other corporation. He's given a set amount of money to work with, and he has to work within his goals to make a profit. Now, the thing is, if Xbox went bust and they didn't make any more Xboxes, Microsoft would not go bust because they got billions and billions of dollars. Okay, now let's move on a bit over to Sony now. Now, all I keep hearing primarily from the Xbox fanboys is, if the PlayStation ever failed and they stopped making PlayStations, that Sony would go out of business. Now that is rubbish. So you've got to understand what Sony is. Sony is a movie company. They make loads of films for Columbia TriStar Pictures. They also make Sony Music. Now, who was the biggest pop star to be under the Sony Music label? Michael Jackson. Now, you don't get to have the biggest pop star in the world under your record label unless you are very big, are you? So they've got Sony Movies, Sony Music. Also, Sony make every electrical device it's worth having: 4K screens, Blu-ray players, etc., etc. Right? Sony has got that many different divisions. If PlayStation was to go completely bust and they scrap making consoles in the future, Sony would not go bankrupt. Let's have that right. Sony would not go bankrupt. They've got too many different divisions in their company. Right? So I would say that Xbox and PlayStation are big money earners for both Microsoft and Sony. But if they was to drop the Xbox, Microsoft drop the Xbox, and Sony to drop the PlayStation, they would not go bust. That is fanboy talk from either the Xbox fanboys or the Sony fanboys, which is utter rubbish. The problem with fanboys is they never back up their arguments. Right? They say, oh, it's like the argument I had with the PlayStation 5 SSD and the Xbox Series X. You can do this, you can do that. It's all oranges and lemons. So I would say this, right? I say PlayStation 5 will continue to be the dominant console. Now, this is not a fanboy video of me praising Sony over Xbox. Now, let's just look at the facts here. People. Now, Sony at the moment with PlayStation is the console market leader. I mean, I don't know the exact specs of how many consoles have been sold, but they're over 100 million units, where Microsoft's about 40 to 50. I'm only shooting in the dark, so I don't know offhand because I haven't got my notes. But I'm just saying is this: so Microsoft dropped the ball as they did. I still say to this day, they dropped the ball at that meeting at E3 where they announced, when in Xbox One was first announced, the DRM, the digital rights management. That's what destroyed the Xbox reputation. And when it comes to fanboyism and stuff like that, what I'm going to say is this: Microsoft made a mistake with the DRM when they introduced the Xbox One, where you had to connect to the internet and reconnect after and log in and all that so many times a day, otherwise your account gets locked. I know they quickly reversed themselves, but by that time the actual content, the actual damage had been done. And quite frankly, I mean, they brought out the Xbox One X, which is an amazing machine, which I've got, but it still did not curb the trend of people going back to Sony. You know, I know the PS4 Pro is weaker than the Xbox One X, right? But there's still more PlayStations been sold than Xboxes, and I will go out on a limb now and say the same thing is going to happen with the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. We all know that the Xbox Series X, it has better hardware, as in it can push more teraflops. But as we keep saying, we're hearing from all developers that the PS5 strong point is its SSD. Now let's go back. I mean, all I keep hearing is the Xbox fanboy says, oh yeah, it's always about the SSD, it's always about the SSD. Now let's listen to this. Remember when Microsoft first announced the new Xbox Series X? What did they say? It all relies on the SSD being 40% more faster. All right, that's what they said, not Sony fanboys. They said that. It's all down to this revolutionary custom SSD that Microsoft is building. But Sony has now, their custom SSD is actually faster. And there has actually been a couple of developers saying that Sony's SSD is actually too fast. Epic Games had to reconfigure their Unreal Engine 5 so they could actually get it to run, because it was that fast. The engine, it was too fast for the engine. That's our custom speed it had. But anyway, all I'm saying is this, going back to the topic on hand. Microsoft is not Xbox. Sony is not PlayStation. They're just divisions in their companies. Every company has different divisions, different sectors. You know, it's like different like streaming, like satellite companies like Sky. They've got Now TV, which is their version of Netflix. But they're all different divisions that make money for the main purpose. I mean, but the thing is, Microsoft, quite frankly, don't have nothing to do with Xbox anymore. They are only to do with Microsoft Windows platforms. Xbox is its own, in effect, its own company. The same with PlayStation. It's its own company. They are different parts of the same company. But the thing is, people says, oh yes, if Phil Spencer wants more money, you just say to Microsoft, come on, give me some more money out the golden purse. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Right? You must see that by the way Microsoft has been handling companies over the last few years. I mean, look at Lionhead Studios, the biggest company that made Fable. Microsoft bought them, and everybody says, whoa, Microsoft has bought this company, right? Well, Fable's going to be amazing. And what did they do? It didn't make enough money, so they shut it down. See, every time a company gets bought by Microsoft, I get scared. Because I think, well, if that company doesn't make a best-selling game or a hit game, Microsoft will shut them down because they're more of a liability than they are a plus. And I'm saying Sony don't do the same things, but just recently Sony hasn't been... I haven't heard the last time Sony closed a company down. But this video is not about me being biased to one or the other. All I always say when I make videos is I only say what I see. And every time I stream or every time I play a game, I hear people talking in a chat or on stream or anything. You know, it's, oh, Phil Spencer can do what he likes. He's got that much. He's got Microsoft behind him. He can do anything. Well, he can't. He can't. He's only got so many videos that he can. Oh, so many videos. And so much money. A certain amount of money. He says, right, Microsoft says at the beginning of the day, here's I don't know, it's $200 million. Right? Make it work. Right? And if he says, oh, I haven't got enough, I need 300 million, they're not going to say, okay, here's another 100 million. No, no. Phil Spencer will be down the road. All right. He is a division of Microsoft, just like Sony's PlayStation is a division of Sony. Microsoft make lots of other things. They make Windows operating systems. You know, they make their own computers now with, you know, and stuff like that. Because if Microsoft actually relied on just software, they wouldn't be half as big as what they are now. And it's always the same with the Xbox and the PlayStation. I mean, talking about the Xbox One, the Xbox S and the X and the Series X, the Blu-ray drive in there is owned. The patent is owned by Sony. Microsoft has to pay Sony money to use that drive because they own the patent for it. All right, this is what a lot of Xbox and Sony fanboys don't understand. Microsoft and Sony are partners. They are a competition, yes, but they are partners as well. They are business people. They're there to make money. You know, there's certain things in the PlayStation what Microsoft own. I mean, there was some talk. I don't know exactly what it is, but some part of the operating system in the PlayStation is partly Windows. This is why these new Xbox, the new Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 have got all the same architecture. It's not made to make them better. It's made them so third-party developers are near enough got the same hardware to develop for. We know the problems it had with the PS3 and the Xbox 360. We know the problems there. The reason why the 360 was easier to develop, develop games for, and to be more backward compatible is because Microsoft took the easy option. They use Windows on all their operating systems. Now, where Sony, they did make a mistake using the Linux-based system and using the cell processor. Granted, that's the reason why at the beginning of the PS3's life cycle, it was so hard to develop for using the cell processor. That's the reason why the Xbox 360 games were always better quality, because the developers always used to make the 360 the lead console. It was not until Electronic Arts come along and says, hang on a minute, now if we make the Xbox 360 the lead platform and import it to the PlayStation 3, we're going to have to sweat blood to get it done. So what we will do is we will make our games on the PS3 and then port them to the 360. And that's exactly what happened with most developers when they caught hold of how to do it. And in the end of the life cycle of the 360 and the PS3, at the beginning the Xbox 360 was beating the PS3, but by the end of the whole generation, until they stopped making them consoles, the PS3 actually did beat the 360 in console sales, and that is a fact. So if you don't believe me, look it up on Google. But Sony was not going to have that on with the PlayStation, so they went back to the drawing board, and then they said to developers, what do you want us to do to make the console easier to develop for? And they told them. And the thing is, now we've got the PS5 and the Series X, which is near enough exactly the same specifications hardware wise. That's the reason why the third party companies are so pleased with both the Xbox Series X and the PS5, is because they're so alike. When they make games on third party games, they're not going to have to keep changing the operating system and completely re-encoding the games and just so it fits on a particular console. They're now near enough both the new Xbox and the new PlayStation are near enough the same machine in essence. That's the reason why they like what they are. I mean, you're still going to get a great gaming experience on the Series X, as well as the same as the PS5. It's just the PS5 is beating it on the SSD, and the Xbox Series X has got a couple of more T-flops on the GPU. It's got a bit better GPU on it, right? And probably be able to push a few more pixels on the screen. But unless you've got a top end screen, you're not really going to see it anyway. And the only one thing the Xbox may do better than the PS5 at the moment is ray tracing, because of the extra T-flops it's got. But most people who I talk to these days, I mean, a lot of people got 4K screens now and all that, but you know, people like to play games. They're not bothered about ray tracing. They're not bothered about, you know, oh well, God, I could see another 1,000 pixels there. God, it looks amazing. No. All people are concerned with these days, at the present with the new consoles, is how much is it going to cost? You know, I mean, we had the argument with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. Now, the Xbox One X is an amazing machine, and more powerful than the PS4 Pro. But did people run out and dump Sony and buy that? No, they didn't. And this is what the problem is with the new Series X and the PS5. The Xbox boys think that, right, because it's more powerful, all the Sony boys are going to say, right, that's it. I'm gone with PlayStation. PlayStation's crap. I'm gonna pick an Xbox up. Well, I'm afraid that's not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. Because, like I've always said in a previous video, it's not the consoles they're interested in. It's the games. Now, Sony has its exclusives on PlayStation, and Xbox has its exclusives on Xbox. So if you like the exclusives on Xbox, great. If you like the exclusives on PlayStation, great. And if you like both, you buy two consoles. Don't get into the fanboy rubbish where you're hoping, you know, if a game's on, say if the game's on a PlayStation and Xbox fanboy wants it on his Xbox, don't go dissing the PlayStation because it's got it and you can't play it on your Xbox, and vice versa. If a game's on the Xbox and a PlayStation fanboy wants to have it on his, don't go and saying the game's crap or disliking the videos, and you know, when it comes out, disliking it, trash talking on the video, saying, oh, the game's crap and all that. That is fanboyism, and that is rubbish. If you want to play the game, put down the money, buy the console it's got the game on, and play it. You know, if you can't afford two consoles, that's fine. But just because the game you want to play doesn't come onto your console doesn't mean it gives you the right to go and trash the game or diss the other, you know, other consoles fans and all that. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. So all I say is this, people, going back to the general topic, which is actually went off of food topics, didn't I? Microsoft is not Xbox and Sony is not PlayStation. They are just divisions in the Microsoft company, the same as PlayStation is a division in the Sony company, and that's how it is. They both make money. Sony PlayStation makes money for Sony, Xbox makes money for Microsoft. But when you get fanboys saying, oh yes, Microsoft's going to win because it's got all that money to back it up, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. People aren't bothered how much money Microsoft's got. All they're bothered about is what games are going to be available on the Xbox. The same as Sony, what games are going to be available on Sony PlayStation. You know, I say this, stop the fanboyism. Stop it. If you want to play some Xbox games, buy an Xbox. If you want to play a PlayStation game, buy a PlayStation. End of. There's no getting around it. No slating each other's games, no slating each other's consoles. If you want to play a particular game and it's not on the console that you have, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go out and buy that console to play it. Don't think, for argument's sake, I mean, you might get games that's going to be on both platforms if they're third party, right? But if a game is first party, means i.e. it's published by Sony or published by Microsoft, unless you buy that console, you are not going to play that game. It's not going to come on your console if it's a first party. So if you like what you hear, please like and share the video out, and subscribe on YouTube and subscribe on BitChute, because that's where the video will be both put on. Please comment in the sections if you don't like this video or you don't like what I'm saying. But I tried to come across as an unbiased opinion. I just see what I see. I mean, I've got both the Xbox, both the PlayStation, and I would love to play everybody to be able to play the same games on any console, but that's never going to happen. You know, you're never going to be able to play Gears of War or Halo on a PlayStation. You're never going to be able to play Uncharted and The Last of Us on an Xbox. And that is just the way the world goes. So, come on, people. Sony fans, Xbox fans, let's all be friends. Because we're all gamers and we all like to game. So let's get in there and do some gaming. So until the next video, it's WARRIC signing off, and I hope you've enjoyed this little video. Remember, I'm trying to be as impartial as I can. So rock on Sony, rock on Xbox. Catch you again.